Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Bunny Muffins. New video today. We're going to be focusing on set 3 for most of my videos this next 2 weeks. I'm super excited about a lot of these champions because all their ultimates seem really cool if you compare them to previous sets. So I'm going to be going over every single champion in the game in 5 parts. I'm going to do them by cost. So we have 5 costs, 4 costs, 3 costs, 2 costs, and 1 cost. I'm going to start out with the legendaries because I think they're the most fun. So let's just get right into it. So all the 5 cost champions that we have are Aurelion Sol, Ekko, Gangplank, Lulu, Misfortune, and Thresh. And ignore this nerf thing. This is just what they've been doing on the PvE. Also ignore the items here because this is from the website I'm on and it's not really what I'm recommending. We don't actually know what the best items will be because frankly people have not played set 3 competitively yet, so we have no clue what's actually going to be strong on each champion. Aurelion Sol is probably the coolest 5 cost. He's much like Singed in set 2. So his first ability is Mobilize the Fleet, and Aurelion Sol launches fighters which fly out to random enemies, dealing magic damage and then return to him. And he launches all fighters plus 3 additional when he casts. Fighters prefer to target nearby enemies, and scales with level, of course, and it's 30 of 60 mana. So with this low mana, it does make sense that Seraph's good, and since it's AoE, it does make sense that Morello's is good. So I do expect these 2 items to be pretty strong on him, but maybe he does want some sort of tank item as well. Aurelion Sol is a rebel, which means at the start of combat, rebels gain a shield and increased damage for each adjacent rebel. So maybe since Aurelion Sol is probably going to be a carry unit for rebel class, you could probably surround him with everyone else to make him pretty strong, in which case you wouldn't even need any tank items. And lastly, he's a starship, so this is like Alchemist from set 2. Starships gain 20 mana per second and maneuver around the board and are immune to movement impairing effects. So he doesn't really attack, so we don't need to really look at any of his stats, but it's pretty basic, just basic DPS class person, low armor, low magic resist, kind of medium health since he's a high cost. When you're looking at stats, the only important things are the mana, pretty much. Because most of the tanks have extra armor or magic resist, and most of the attack damage units or ability power units, they always have 30 armor and 20 magic resist. But next up we have Ekko. This is one of the coolest abilities in League of Legends because it's like one of the things that plays with time a lot, and it gives like both damage, shielding, and like a pretty cool mechanic. So Ekko his ability is Chrono Break. And Ekko shatters a timeline, freezing all units in time before attacking each enemy with bonus magic damage and applying on-hit effects. Ekko cannot die while he has stopped time. Yo, that seems pretty good to me. Obviously, we don't actually know what's good or not because the damage can change and everything, all these numbers you see, like they're changing every day on the PBE, which is like the test server for Teamfight Tactics. This ability seems awesome. You definitely probably want on hits on him because when he freezes stuff and he pretty much attacks everyone, it's like a no-brainer to maybe put like a red buff or Morello on him since it's both a spell and auto attack. So we're looking at his origin now, Cybernetic. Cybernetic champions deal with at least one item, Cybernetic champions with at least one item gain health and damage. So that's a class that you want like one item on every champion so that they gain this extra bonus. I think this class synergy isn't really that great, but I do like how Riot is introducing more item diversity amongst their champions instead of everyone just stacking one champion. But since he's a 5 cost, if you ever get him to 2-star, you definitely want to be stacking him. Next up, he's an infiltrator, so this is a lot like the assassin class. They jump at the start of combat, but now they also gain attack speed for 6 seconds and bonus attack speed on their trait. So bonus attack speed probably doesn't really help Ekko that much at all because his ultimate already attacks each enemy, and I'm guessing it attacks everyone once, but we'll see how it actually works out once the set comes out for real. Next up we have Gangplank. Whoa, he's got a big mana pool, which makes sense because I've read his ability before, Orbital Strike. He calls down a large orbital strike around his target, dealing magic damage to all enemies in that area for 2 seconds. So that's similar to his League of Legends ultimate, which is just like a huge cannon barrage. And he is a space pirate. I'm very excited to see space pirates back because I love pirates in set 1, and it's so fun to get extra gold. And they actually added a new thing where you could get an item component when you have 4 pirates. So they did change it up a little bit because whenever a space pirate lands a killing blow on a champion, there's a chance to drop extra loot now. And it starts at 50% for 1 gold and 50% for 1 gold and 10% for an item component, as I stated earlier. And next up, he's a Demolitionist, and this makes his spell really pop because his Orbital Strike, it's a very wide radius. And Demolitionists, their spellcasts stun their targets for 1.5 seconds. So that's going to be huge. So it makes sense that his ultimate costs a lot of mana. So I'd assume that maybe something like Spear of Shojin might be useful on him, and definitely Guardian Angel to make sure he gets the first cast off, guaranteed, would be really strong for your team because you pretty much get an AoE stun that hits almost everyone important. Lastly, he's a Mercenary. Mercenaries can buy upgrades for their spells in the shop. And these are the synergies down there. But yeah, Gangplank, he looks pretty awesome because you don't even need many people for Demolitionists. You just need to add one other guy. So either Rumble or Ziggs, and then you've just done everyone. There's like no downside, right? Next up, we have Lulu. Lulu's ability is Mass Polymorph. She also has a pretty big mana pool. And she polymorphs the nearest enemies for 4 seconds, rendering them unable to attack or cast and causing them to hop around aimlessly. Polymorph enemies take additional damage. And it's all listed out here. Wow, that's funny. If you do get 3-star Lulu, I guess you just win the game. But yeah, definitely since she has a high mana pool, I do agree with the Spear of Shojin. And Rageblade could be good as well. But again, we don't really know what the best items are actually going to be until once the set comes out. She is a Celestial, so all allies heal for a percent of the damage they deal with spells and attacks. So that makes her additional damage buff pretty useful because it's gonna just pretty much heal your whole team. I think Celestial is probably one of the cooler synergies that comes out of this set. And next up, she's a Mystic, so she just gives magic resistance to your whole team based on how many Mystics you have. So if you have 2 of them, you get 30, and 4 of them, you get 120, similar to what we've seen in the past. And next up, we have Misfortune. I don't really think she's that cool because we already saw her ultimate from before, but it's still nice to see her again because I think she's much cooler than all these set 2 ultimates. So Misfortune channels and fires a wave of bullets in a cone for 2.25 seconds, dealing a percentage of the enemy's maximum health and magic damage over the duration. I wonder how this scales with ability power. We'll have to see. It's funny for this one how it does 500% of someone's health, but the only important one is the 2-star and 1-star, and there isn't that big of an upgrade between 2-star and 1-star, so maybe you could just run like a level 1 Misfortune if she does happen to be strong. So she is a Valkyrie, and Valkyrie attacks and spells always critical strike. Okay, she's going to be pretty good because you deal a lot of health and your team's dealing damage as well, and then all of a sudden they start critically striking every time. Yeah, that'd be very interesting. And yeah, QSS does make sense on her because you don't want her to get interrupted during her cast. Trap Claw would be decent as well as a substitute. Next up, she is also a Blaster. Every 4th attack from a blast fires an additional attack at random enemies, and they trigger their basic attacks and trigger on hit effects. So first it's 2 attacks, then it's 5 attacks. She doesn't really benefit from this because she's really just going to be an ulti bot, meaning that her primary damage just comes from her ultimate. You don't really need to have her attack speed or attack damage oriented. And lastly, she's also a Mercenary, so you could buy and upgrade her spell in the shop. Lastly, we have Thresh. Man, I keep saying everyone's abilities are cool, but his is unique for sure because he tosses a lantern towards a random unit or units on your bench, pulling them into the current combat and granting them and himself bonus mana. But traits are unaffected. So you could have if you have an extra upgraded unit, you could just leave it on your bench. And maybe it is kind of useful. And I'm guessing he could pull in multiple people because if he keeps casting, more people come in. But this is very unreliable because traits are unaffected, so it's not that big of a bonus bringing in a random unit. So I don't really think he's going to be that great. He'll be more of like a for fun champion, in my opinion. But they might change him, they might buff him, they might tweak his numbers a bit, maybe change how he works. Like maybe at level 2 he might pull 2 units in, maybe that makes it more interesting. But from a first glance, it doesn't seem that strong. It seems more like for fun or for like YouTube highlights. He is a Chrono. So Chrono is very good when games last really long because all allies gain attack speed every 4 seconds. So you want to pair this with probably attack damage oriented composition so that they actually benefit from the attack speed. Lastly, he's a Mana Reaver. Mana Reaver's basic attacks increase mana cost of their target's next spellcast by 40%, and if you have 2 of them, it's first attack each combat, and then the next one, it's pretty much all attacks then. So it might be worth going for 4, but you kind of run a lot of random units with like not too many overlapping synergies, so we'll have to see if that actually is something people want to aim for going into the game. But yeah, that's it for all the legendary champions. Let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments section down below, and if you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you did hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button if you're new and you want to get better at TFT. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. We'll be covering 4 cost champions in the next video.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.